The City Council meeting on Thursday, October 2nd. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller,
Present.
Deputy Majority Whip Anderbaugh, Majority Leader Espinal,
Present.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilwoman Graves,
Present.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris,
Present.
Councilwoman Peterson, Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo is absent, Councilor Royas,
Present.
Councilwoman Ryan,
Present.
Majority Whip Sanchez,
Present.
Councilman Taylor,
Here.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent, Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Present.
You have 12 present and 2 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will everyone please rise for the invocation given by Majority Leader Pedro Espinal?
Thank you, Madam President. Dear God, we come before you once again to thank you for the opportunity to serve our community, to serve our city. Please guide us as we make very important decisions for the future of our city. In you we trust. Amen.
Thank you, and please remain rising for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman John Gonzalez.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 3.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 3 and move approval.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 3? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 4.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 4 through 8.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second on items 4 through 8. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please note items 4 through 7 as received. Item 8, refer to the Committee on Finance.
So noted.
Item 9,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 9 through 23 and pass for the second time and a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
Any discussion on items 9 through 23? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller,
Aye.
Deputy Majority Whip Anderbaugh,
Aye.
Majority Leader Espinal, Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves, Deputy Majority Leader Harris,
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson, Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo is absent, Councilor Royas,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryan, Majority Whip Sanchez,
Aye.
Councilman Taylor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent, Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Aye.
You have 12 ayes, 2 absent. The motion carries. The matters are passed for the second time on a roll call vote.
Thank you. Item 24,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 24 through 27.
Second, Madam President.
Any discussion on items 24 through 27? Councilwoman Graves?
Yes, 25. This is the 444 thing. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Never mind.
All right. Any discussion on items 24 through 27? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please refer items 24, 25, and 26 to the Committee on Ordinances, 27 to the Committee on Public Works.
So noted.
Item 28,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 28 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 28?
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
thank you. Tonight I rise to welcome into our chamber Colonel Sonny Cepeda of the Dominican Republic Police Department. Now, Sonny is the liaison between the Dominican Republic, the City of Providence, and the City of New York Police Department, who is doing great work and providing international safety. And Sonny is also celebrating tonight 25 years of a wonderful career. So, Madam Clerk, I would love for you to read the resolution into the record, please.
Whereas Colonel Sonny Cepeda has dedicated 25 years to the Dominican National Police, beginning his service on November 15, 1999, demonstrating unwavering commitment to public safety. And whereas he holds degrees in police sciences and law, a diploma in operational management of police functions, and has completed specialized training in mountain operations, combat tactics, and international policing. And whereas throughout his career, Colonel Cepeda has served in key roles, including the Judicial Police, the Corps of Military Aids, to the President of the Dominican Republic, interurban road safety oversight, and command positions within DGCET. And whereas, as a liaison between the Dominican National Police and the police departments of Providence and New York, Colonel Cepeda has strengthened cross-border cooperation, promoted public safety, and supported Dominican communities abroad. And whereas his work serves as a model of dedication, integrity, and service, inspiring both colleagues and youth in the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Providence City Council recognizes Colonel Sonny Cepeda for his 25 years of exemplary service and for his critical role in fostering international collaboration and advancing binational security. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to Colonel Sonny Cepeda and the office of Mayor Brett Smiley.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam President, we prepare a citation, which I'd like to read. It's in Spanish for the Colonel. Le damos las gracias por compartir con nosotros este día tan especial. Nos da la oportunidad de darle la bienvenida aquí al municipio de la ciudad de Providence. Es un orgullo tenerlo y felicitarlo y celebrar con usted este día, sus 25 años de carrera. Le preparamos una proclamación que me gustaría leerle. Y dice: Estado de Rhode Island, ciudad de Providence, reconocimiento oficial. Para reconocimiento público, el Consejo Municipal de la ciudad de Providence ofrece sus más sinceras felicitaciones al coronel Sonny Cepeda en reconocimiento de su destacada trayectoria de 25 años de servicio a la Policía Nacional Dominicana y su invaluable gestión como enlace entre la Policía Nacional Dominicana y las ciudades de Providence y New York. Otorga el presente reconocimiento al coronel Sonny Cepeda. Su dedicación ha fortalecido los lazos de cooperación, promoviendo la seguridad y el bienestar de nuestras comunidades y sirviendo una inspiración a la juventud a través del servicio. Entregado el día 30 del mes de septiembre del año 2025 en la Municipalidad de Providence, Rhode Island, firmada por la presidenta del Consejo, Rachel Miller, y por todos los concejales que hoy le felicitamos en su trayectoria. Bienvenido. And I'll also ask my colleague at the end of the session if you could stay so that we can just take a couple of pictures. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Any further discussion on item 28? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Colonel, thank you for your service and your partnership with us. Item 29.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading around 29 and pass for the first time in a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
Any
Madam
discussion on item 29? Councilor Anderbaugh.
Thank you so much, Council President and colleagues. I rise obviously in support of this ordinance and just wanted to explain a few of the changes that have happened since the public hearing that we held together in March. Many of you were there. But first, I want to express a lot of gratitude to all the advocates who came out and submitted letters of comment, who are both environmental advocates, neighborhood advocates, noise advocates, and the Rhode Island Nursery and Landscape Association. After that hearing, I carefully read all of the letters we received and the testimony we heard, and met several times with RINLA, the Nursery and Landscape Association, as well as advocates, both in their places of business as well as here at City Hall. And I know that the preference from landscapers is that we not pass this, but they offered really constructive feedback for if it were passed, how it would be easier for them. And I really wanted to take that to heart because the goal of this, as we've discussed before, is to address the noise pollution in our city as well as the carbon emissions and other forms of environmental degradation that come from gas leaf blowers. It's not meant to harm small business. It's meant to be something that's positive for our residents, for our health, and for the health of our neighborhoods, and the health of our climate. And so I was really grateful for their partnership and their coming to the table to talk. Hope that you can vote in support. And so the few changes we made, which I know still maintain the integrity of the proposal and will phase out the leaf blowers over time, does a few things. One, it clarifies the definition of leaf blower to be really specific about what the type of equipment we mean. The initial phase of the phase out allows gas leaf blowers to be used only during a certain time of year, during the fall when the leaves are heaviest and wettest. The current electric equipment, I've been told by many people, it just is not up to the task yet. So the idea is to phase it out over time and allow them to continue using it during just the fall, and use other equipment during other times of year. And we also moved the fines to the property owner, not to the business, for a few reasons. One of which is it pertains to everybody using these. It's not just for services, not for just people hiring services. People are also worried about their workers and people taking photos of their workers. And many folks are really worried about having their photo taken and being submitted to any sort of enforcement, even if it is just DIS, in the really challenging federal environment we are in, which I don't need to explain any further. And it does start with a warning first. So our constituents aren't going to immediately get a fine for doing this. They will get a warning, they'll get a heads up that, hey, heads up, this is a thing that happened. And heads up, we have this ordinance that's happening. And the other thing, and then I really will stop talking, I promise, is I did talk with the Office of Energy Resources at the state level, as well as Rep. Boylan, who had sponsored incentives for switching over to leaf blowers. And I spoke about those with RINLA. I spoke about them with OER to make sure that those incentives were easier for businesses to access. And they have changed the criteria for how folks can sign up for them, because it was being reported as overly onerous. So that has been amended. And I'm also happy to meet with any of the small businesses in your wards or who operate in your wards who are like, I didn't know about that. Happy to come chat. I want to make sure that this works for everybody and that they have access to all the resources. Not everyone's a member of RINLA. RINLA's who reached out. They know how to work with us. But a lot of small businesses don't participate in that. So the goal is to really transition over and not be overly burdensome. So I hope that you do support this. It's something a lot of our residents have been asking for. It's probably one of the top 5 things I hear about. Folks have said, it'll be so much quieter. I can't wait to move back to Providence. When they heard that this could be passing tonight. So I hope for your support. I'm really grateful for it. And also to the committee members for their thorough review and conversation this past week, last week when we heard it again in committee, and for the large volume of people who came out to testify at the public hearing. So I'll stop, but thank you so much. And I do hope you vote in support.
Thank you, Councilman Taylor.
Madam President, colleagues, I think we really need to think about what we're doing as council members. When I first read this, it says gas-powered lawn equipment, which I know it is. Obviously, it falls under that category. But where do we stop? We're going to have lawnmowers. We're going to have chainsaws, weed whackers. Is that the plan that we do, is just keep going after and have everything electric? I did some research on this as well. And like in, say, California, the affluent places like Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, in Massachusetts, Cambridge, Brookline, all affluent neighborhoods have this. And again, I know people won't like me saying this, but this is 2 sets of Providence. We have the east side and we have the rest of us. In my ward, I've been councilman for 7 years. I haven't gotten one call on noise of a leaf blower, not one. I've gotten plenty of fireworks and roosters and loud music, you name it, which we already have a noise ordinance. The noise ordinance we have now is not enforced. So why do we keep putting, I call it, I know some of my colleagues don't like this either, but I call it a feel-good, let's get on the press type of ordinance, because who's going to enforce this? The police? The police have enough to do. Do you want them to go to call for a leaf blower or someone's house being broken into or someone being robbed? So it just doesn't make sense. We don't have any enforcement on the ones we have now. Like I said, we have fireworks that go off, not enforced. We have loud music, not enforced. We have roosters in the city, not enforced. The list goes on, and we just keep putting ordinances in, and we don't enforce them. So I don't see how that is going to help And where do we stop? Like in my ward, in Silver Lake, and a lot of wards, the workers live in my ward. They're not on the east side. The ones that are out there doing landscaping don't live in the east side to work on the east side. They work over in my ward, in Silver Lake, and you name it. They're there working. So we're giving them another issue to go through. You can go out and buy a gas leaf blower for anywhere from $60 to $400. Electric ones are anywhere from $100 to $700. And they have to have all the batteries. They don't just, it's not like I'm doing my house. They do like 10 different houses or more a day. So what are they going to do? How are they going to keep the cost on the batteries are very expensive. And I feel that we're pushing these small business, they come here and their small businesses do landscaping and they do excellent work. And I feel that we're tying their hands. I don't care if it's now or 8 years down from now. You can't even buy a used electric leaf blower right now because it's not even out there. You can't buy a used electric anything right now because they're brand new. But I feel we're tying the hands of a business, someone that comes out, they have 5 or 6 people, they work very hard, and now we're going to say, so what's their option? My suggestion, if this passes, go out and buy a generator. Buy a generator, put it on the back of the trailer, start it up, that makes more noise than a leaf blower, and charge your batteries because we're giving these people no ultimatum. And the kicker is the fine goes to the homeowner. What are we doing? How many fines do we want to give the homeowner? They got the recycling. We do the recycling. They have no clue. You get a little wristband. They don't pick up their garbage. It goes to the homeowner. Now we got, if you have tall grass, environmental goes out. They give you a fine for that. Now we got a fine. I know it's only a warning, but how many people, when they get the actual fine, say they never got it? So how are they going to get a warning? They're going to get fined. We just raised taxes. It just never ends for the people in the city of Providence. And I don't, like I said, where does it stop? Because it says gas-powered lawn equipment. This year it's leaf blower, next year lawnmower, following year weed whacker, following year chainsaw. We're not business friendly here. We have a lot of people in my ward and in other wards, not even including the people that sell it. But I'm going to vote no. Hopefully people can think about it because at the end, the fine goes to that person. We're nickel and diming these people out of this city. And 8 years from now, these people aren't even going to be here. They're just going to leave. They're going to say, you know what, I'm out of here because I can't afford this city. So thank you very much, Madam President, for listening.
Councilman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Councilman Taylor, for those comments. I think it's a really important policy discussion that we're having, and I think it's important to consider everyone's perspective on this. I do want to say that this has been an issue citywide, perhaps maybe not in your ward, but there are many people who have been calling to see this happen in the city. And I understand your concerns here. As we think about phasing out gas-powered leaf blowers, this is also about protecting the public safety and also the public health of the worker. If you think about the toxic emissions of gas-powered leaf blowers, it's equivalent to driving a gas-powered vehicle for 1,100 miles. Many of these workers, in fact, do this work without having the proper equipment necessary or needed to make sure that they're safe. And many of these workers, as you know, are disproportionately people of color. So that's one argument on the public health perspective. And I think we sometimes operate under this assumption that we are trying to be punitive or hurt people, but actually in this case, it's the exact opposite. We're trying to protect people and we're trying to protect workers. The other piece is the quality of life challenges that this is posed for many of our residents in the city. Irrespective of what neighborhood you're in, whether it's the east side or anywhere else in the city, people deserve peace and quiet. And I think the problem that we are trying to solve here, and we've all received these deluge of emails, is the fact that people are using these gas-powered leaf blowers that are in many cases, in violation of the noise ordinance at times that are not helpful for anybody in that community. So if you're a baby being woken up by a gas-powered leaf blower, that's a problem. If you're someone who, you might laugh, but I've gotten those emails from constituents about that. There are people who have public health issues and challenges. It's something that we should address. The other piece is we've seen other municipalities, we've seen other states, we've seen other cities pass these laws to completely eliminate gas-powered leaf blowers, and they have been on the forefront of that years and years ago. So in fact, we're behind the curve on this. California passed this law a while ago, and there are so many other municipalities that have these laws on the books. I do want to say, you know, a lot of appreciation for the people on this committee, but also the lead sponsor, Councilwoman Anderbois, for being very thoughtful and intentional about this process. There were a lot of advocates that were a part of this process, but she also, as you heard, worked very diligently with the people who were in opposition to try to find some middle ground and to find some commonality to move this forward. Ultimately, gas-powered leaf blowers, they pollute our air, they threaten our public health, they shatter the peace of our neighborhoods. This is not a punitive ordinance. There's plenty of lead time to try to educate the public on what we need to do. As the sponsor mentioned, we can work very closely with the members of the General Assembly to try to get resources and funds to mitigate some of the challenges around moving to cleaner energy and technologies. But ultimately, this is the right thing to do. It's protecting the worker, it's protecting our constituents, and in the long term, we're doing the right thing for everyone involved. And the one point that I just want to make, last point, the Parks Department has already been leading the charge on this. So we have many people in our city, in fact, who are using this cleaner technology. These are workers in our city that are benefiting from the fact that they don't have to use these overly noxious gas-powered leaf blowers that are detrimental to their public health. And I think we are serving as a model. We have to lead on this issue. This is about quality of life. This is about protecting the workers. This is not a punitive ordinance. We're not saying we're going to do this tomorrow. We're giving people some lead time. So I think this is completely reasonable. And I hope that our colleagues, irrespective of how you feel about this issue, I hope that we'll look at the bigger picture here and think about how we're going to protect our people, our workers, but also the quality of life of the residents in our city. And with that, I'll say, lastly, I just want to say thank you to the sponsor. Thank you to everyone who worked incredibly hard on this initiative. I want to send a shout out to the Providence Noise Project, all the neighborhood associations across the city who were a part of this process, but also the people who had issues with it and worked and came to the table to try to think about making it better. And that's what I think this is. So again, I hope that we'll support this ordinance and finally pass it tonight. Thank you, Madam President.
Further discussion, item 29. Councilman Vargas.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I agree with my colleagues about everything they're saying. I wish we can have a job position for them tomorrow when they lose the right to go and use their gas power. I got a lot of families and constituents in my area. They depend on this particular job. They have a lawnmower, a leaf blower, a weed whacker. Just a leaf blower, electric, will cost more than $300. They barely making money to survive, especially with the rent so high. They do every day go to work to make ends meet. And this job, to do a landscaping business, You don't need a rocket science title like my colleagues have in this chamber. They don't go to Harvard to get a title to go cut grass. But my people, my community, they need these jobs. It's very great to every council person who's here and introduce new ordinance. And it's so great when we compare with huge cities like California. Costs you $900 to get there from here. We are a little tiny city in Rhode Island that we're trying to survive. Everybody's trying to survive here, including us here. Why we don't create new ordinance to create jobs, to create incentives, to create positions, and stop going after the property owners? How much more we can take from them? This ordinance will cite the property owner. The property owner pays a contract to the landscaping company. The landscaping send a bill a month later. By the time the property owners get the bill for the landscaping job, he will get the citation, the violation, $100. And will say, hey, how come I got this? So I'm not paying you for the job you did because I got this violation. I'd rather pay the violation and not pay the landscaping company. Then that's where the issue is. But that's where the problem is. This ordinance is not a great ordinance. It's a good idea to help the climate. It's great, we're going ahead, but we have to wait. We're not ready yet. If you got $3,000 to buy a generator that will produce more smoke than the leaf blower, it's fine, but they don't have $3,000 to go buy a diesel generator and put it in the back of the truck to charge batteries. So we're not saving nobody. We're not saving the planet. We're not doing anything different. Am I going to be using the people's plug to charge my batteries? I don't think so. That's private property. This ordinance is not helping. Doesn't help my community. I don't know will help the other community or different communities that we have in this city. We might have to do some ordinance, yes, divide the wards. Oh, this ordinance will be for Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 15, Ward 13. We can create ordinance like that. Only in this area, that area. But we're not here to split the city. We're here to unite and work together for the better future of this city. That's why we get elected, to protect our constituents. If I'm talking here, it's because I'm talking for my constituents. And everyone here will talk for their own constituents. And that's why we bring this ordinance to the floor and make the right decision. I'm sorry I'm going to be voting no because I got 11,000 people saying, what are you doing? Creating more ordinance to squeeze the dollar out of the people? That's not right. Let's work and create good ordinance, good policies that will help the people of Providence, because that's the city we represent. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Councilman Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in strong support of this ordinance. Like my colleagues have mentioned, a huge amount of gratitude and strong commend the sponsor for doing her due diligence on this ordinance. It's not easy to bring people around a table with strong opposing opinions, but that's exactly what my colleague has done by working on this ordinance. Most concerns that I have heard today are addressed in this revised ordinance. I hear speeches and I start to think, I'm like, do my colleagues read the ordinance? Because most of the stuff has been addressed, which, leads you to the next question of different, enforcement concerns and, folks having concerns about the fines going to property owners. That was the result of said conversations happening. You know, it's definitely not a easy thing. This, you know, you see the headline, oh, the city banning gas powered. You know, it brings a lot of different opinions, but to do the work and put all the mudslinging to the side and get to the point where we're at today, it's not an easy task. And that's what my colleague has brought us to this point. Like folks have said, this does not go into effect until 2033. While I do, you know, respect and appreciate the noise concerns, what really drives me to support something like this is the environmental piece. Folks are, you know, are worried about the cost of living, you know, the expensive rent, which is all valid concerns. But if we don't have a clean environment to live in, then literally none of this matters. And that's exactly where we're heading as a society here in Providence and other places. You know, we've talked about pollution around the port. We talk about the congestion in different parts of the neighborhoods of traffic. We need to be doing everything as a municipal body to start, you know, showing love to this planet that gives us love every single day. And, you know, this might not, you know, cut off all carbon emissions, but if you read and see the papers and data and research that the emissions that these instruments put out on a yearly basis, it will literally blow your mind. So that's why, you know, I want to rise in strong support of this. You know, if you read it as a headline, then yeah, you maybe not support it. But once you dig down in the details and actually understand the process that is played out, to me, this is a very common sense, good government bill, and I'm proud to support it. Thank you, Madam President.
Further discussion, item 29. Yeah, further discussion before, go ahead. Councilwoman Peterson.
Can you hear me? Okay. Ooh, that's a little strong. So thank you very much. I want to thank the sponsor of this for putting this together. I'll be extremely honest with you. I've been completely on the fence on this one for the longest time for a variety of reasons, many of them that were spoken about today. But what I think is a really positive move about this particular ordinance is that you've put it out so far in advance so that we can do all of the things that we're intending to do the right way. And I think that it really needs to be noted that the time and dedication to make sure that we get it right has been put into place into this particular ordinance, and I appreciate that. If there is one particular ask that I could make, and it's only because of a situation that I came across in the past month and a half for my professional life, is that we really do a lot of education around the batteries and how to dispose of them properly. I sat in a training with fire chiefs from all over the state about diffusing these actual batteries, and it was really scary, and it's not something that most people would even realize with these things. So if there's one point of advocacy that I would make is that we just put our best foot forward and really create some advocacy around doing it the right way, especially if we're going to have homeowners taking care of these things on their properties and things like that. So I am going to be supporting this. I do appreciate all the work that you put into this, and I do agree with my fellow counselors that had a lot of hesitation, but I also understand that there is a lot of room to make sure that we do enact and enforce in the proper way. And with regards to enforcement, I think that's a very broad term of things that we need to work on, and we should actually be taking care of a lot of those things through our committees. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who hasn't spoken yet before I allow the sponsor to say, nope? Okay, Councilwoman Anderbach.
Thank you, and I'll be brief. One, I really appreciate this robust debate, even among the folks who opposed it. So thank you for sharing your views. I did want to share three additional quick things. One is an agreement with Councilwoman Peterson. Yes, let's work on that. Those same batteries are in the mobility, the scooters and things like that. And I want to make sure as a city we're addressing some of those issues as well, so people can use all of these devices and all of these batteries as safely as possible. So 100%. I also want to highlight something that Councilman Sanchez and I believe Councilman Goncalves were saying about public health. I have constituents who've called me. The gas leaf blowers are so powerful and blow up so much particulate matter from the ground, especially during times of year when, not right now, when there are fewer leaves on the ground and they're just kind of blowing. People have become, they use the phrase with me, prisoners in my home. Like if they have respiratory issues or any issues with their lungs, like being outside when those are being used is like incredibly challenging for their health. And I have a number of constituents who just cannot leave their houses during certain times of the year because they can't breathe when they go outside or they constantly have to be masked. And so it's an environmental issue. It is a noise issue, but it's also just a public health issue for people who are like literally trapped in their homes with like tons of air purifiers and things like that, because they're used across the whole city. They're used off North Main. They're used in your neighborhoods, whether or not people are complaining. And the other, I just want to address, this isn't just a big city thing. I'm part of a group of folks, counselors across the country who work on environmental issues, and there are teeny tiny little towns, big cities, medium cities, cities of all sizes who've already done this. And they're doing it fine, and we're not seeing giant generators in the street. It's good to think of all the worst case scenarios and make sure we're planning for that. But it's not, other places have done this and it's been okay. And we haven't seen a lot of these. It's not just for huge cities, it's not just LA, it's also smaller places across the whole country, including here in New England. So we are not at the cutting edge, we're like catching up a little bit. So I just wanted to point that out. But thank you all. I love the robust debate and conversation, and hope you will support it, and we'll sit down.
Further discussion, item 29. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller.
Aye.
Deputy Majority Whip Anderbois.
Aye.
Majority Leader Espinal.
Aye.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonsalves.
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves.
No.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Aye.
Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo is absent. Councilor Royas.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryan. Majority Whip Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilman Taylor.
Nay.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent. Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Nay.
You have 8 ayes, 3 nays, 1 abstention, 2 absent. The motion carries. The matter is passed for the first time on a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 30.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 30 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 30? Madam Clerk, no, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 31.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 31 and pass on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
Any discussion on item 31? Councilwoman Graves. I'm sorry, Councilwoman, could you use your microphone? Thank you.
Sorry. I'm speaking on part of this because they're in two things. One is for Doyley and the other one is for the water park, a water fountain. I wish they had separated it because I think they're two separate things and probably should have been looked at differently. My concern is 444 Westminster was a horrible decision that was made well before any of us, I guess, was sitting in these chambers. But it was these things that we have been doing or have been doing for a while is voting on things and having leases that go 30 and 40 and 50 years, and this is what happens. Things get kicked down the road, and then we're stuck. That was probably the worst lease I have ever seen in my life. We gave away everything and achieved nothing from this. So now we are stuck with the decision of whether or not we should buy this building that should have been brought back then, or be held over a barrel and pay these millions of dollars each and every single year. I think this is a good thing. If those of you who have not seen that lease need to see that lease, read that lease, and see what we've been doing and what has been going on, and realize that we need to stop doing these things. We need to understand before we sign our names to these things. We need to understand what the outcome can be, and how we can be putting another council in the same predicament that we're in right now. And we need to stop doing this. It's not good for our people of the city. It's not good for us. And people just keep on doing it, and it seems to be the same players all the time. And we got to say enough is enough. That being said, I know that we probably should, buy this thing just to get out from under. But sometimes we need to learn a hard lesson. We need to learn that this is what happens. And maybe we need to chew on this for the next 10 years. So I'm going to say no to this, only because 444 should never have happened. And I think I have to say shame on those that signed that lease. I was never so disappointed because I know Angel, and I know he's a very intelligent young man. I know he got the best of education. I don't know how he got steered into signing that. But I hope the next mayor and the next city council will never sign anything like that again. So that's all I have to say.
Further discussion, item 31. Chairwoman Ryan.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I rise to speak on item 31. What is before us is not a lease on 444 Washington Street. It is a resolution to authorize the bonding to allow the PPBA the authority to acquire two pieces of property, 444 Westminster Street and the Waterfire Arts Building. Again, it's a $25 million bonding. It is fiscally sound, quite frankly. It gets us out of a lease that we've been in for 14 years. It's a 25-year lease, so we've got quite a ways to go. And we are currently paying $1.7 million annually to rent that building. That building houses 10 departments of the city of Providence. I think it's about 70,000 square feet. As we all know, moving people, if we should buy out that lease or stay in there, we'd be subject to escalated rent payments. But if we were to move out of the building at any time, the costs would be high, very high. It would be a Herculean task to move those 10 departments, not to mention the significant downtime. The reality is this is a fiscally sound transaction. It is taking that $1.7 million off our debt obligation. Our budget is enhanced because of it, because of not having that rent payment. We're moving that obligation to the bond payment, which we have room in, bond service capacity. It provides critical, wonderful space for us. Anyone who's been in the building knows that first floor has tremendous community space potential. It's used a lot by the CPC for their community meetings. The basement has tremendous capacity to relocate our archives. It's one of the things that have been discussed. Moreover, as a renter, we haven't been able to do anything to make that space fit our needs. So part of this bonding includes a $2.75 million reserve to allow us to do some space planning to make that building fit our needs now and into the future. And that certainly is an important step that needs to take place. Again, I support this. The Finance Committee met. We had a great deal of discussion. My recollection is it unanimously passed that evening. The lease is not the best, but we have to deal with what we have in the time that we're dealing with it. And quite frankly, this is a good deal right now. It makes fiscal sense for us. And I support it wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Further discussion, Councilman Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. When I first saw this, I think a Go Local article was the first way I found out about this proposed deal. I definitely, had a lot of concerns in my mind right away. I was like, absolutely not. But then, you dig deep in the details. My just general concern with the city going out for a bond in these times is that it adds more responsibility to the city in a time where we're asking for our neighbors to pay more. I definitely hesitate to be asking for more money for the city of Providence. But when you dig into details, as the Finance Committee did a couple weeks ago, conversations with the finance team, makes sense. Absolutely. Going forward, it's going to give the city a lot more flexibility. On top of the rental payments, we're spending more than $250,000 on maintenance and repairs on an annual basis. So when you add that to the rent, the debt payment, it's going to be a lot less. And then we have full control of the building to do whatever we need to do in terms of repairs, upgrades, moving offices around to fit the needs of our city departments better, which is a great plus. But it's important to acknowledge that this wouldn't be a good deal if that really, really crappy lease wasn't in place. So I think it's important as representatives of the people that we serve to highlight those important details, to show our neighbors these decisions that were done in the past, probably behind a back room, quickly passed through a council chamber. I don't know the exact process that went through, but if I had to guess, there wasn't a lot of community and public input, because we all have read the lease. It's extremely unfair to the people of Providence, but by buying this building with this opportunity that we have, I think we're doing a little bit more justice to the people that we serve. And the last thing I would like to highlight, which was another concern of mine, is that we wouldn't have any more debt capacity to keep funding future CIP projects. The finance team of the mayor of the administration did say on record that this doesn't impact any other future CIP or any other possible bond projects that we want to do in the future. So with all of those things noted, I'm gonna support this bond. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilman Gonsalves.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for those comments that were made by my colleagues. I also had a similar reaction, but want to say that this is a financially prudent thing for the city to do. The term expires in fiscal year 2036, and it would likely need to be renewed at the time. I understand the concerns that people are sharing here, but as you just heard from the finance chairwoman, you just heard from my counselor colleague or council colleague Miguel Sanchez, the annual lease, it's going to cost $1.5 million per year, and that's just going to escalate. And as you also mentioned, the figure of $250,000 in additional maintenance and management and utility costs for the project. So this is a financially prudent thing to do. And so I certainly urge my colleagues to support this. As it relates to the Valley Street and water fire building, that's a critical cultural institution in our city. And I think it's also important that we're able to think about this holistically and collectively. And the average debt service on that borrowing, as we have heard in committee and from our finance department, is over $300,000 a year. So this planned purchase will allow us to lease the building in its use for 20 years and also ensure that we're operating in a very fiscally prudent way as a city. So it's the right thing to do. I understand that there are people who have reservations here, but I think ultimately this is going to be beneficial for our balance sheet here in the city of Providence. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Further discussion, item 31. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller.
Aye.
Deputy Majority Whip Anderbaugh.
Aye.
Majority Leader Espinal.
Aye.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez.
Aye.
Come again?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilwoman Graves.
Nay.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Nay.
Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo is absent. Councilor Royas.
Nay.
Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Majority Whip Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilman Taylor.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas is absent. Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Aye.
You have 9 ayes, 3 nays, 2 absent. The motion carries. The matter is approved on a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 32.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 32 and receive and approve.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 32? Councilman Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Today I want to rise in strong support of this appointment. I've met with possibly to be Director Sean here shortly a handful of times. We had a rec board meeting and he did attend. Being the director of the rec department is not an easy job, but it's a very important one. Especially now, I think we're living in a time where we're utilizing rec centers for a lot more than just a recreational center. It's a huge community hub, a lot of resources, a lot of lives being saved by a lot of our youth spending time and learning important life skills. But through those conversations and experiences with Sean, I think he's going to be a great director. He knows that this is a team that we're going to, hold him accountable when need, but we're also there to support, to keep, increasing funding to the rec department. I think it's something we should start talking about now before the budget season comes. So I just wanted to rise in strong support of Sean Hawley. And he is here today.
Thank you. Further discussion, Councilwoman
I did
Chairwoman
want-
Ryan.
I also wanted to echo the comments from my Finance Committee colleague. Sean made a wonderful presentation in the Finance Committee. And what we learned and what was testified to is his commitment to the city of Providence, to the youth of the city of Providence, and being partners with each council member in running our rec centers. We disagree in this chamber around tables on a lot of topics, but one of the things we all agree on is our youth, our children, proper education, wonderful recreation service. It's critical to their growth and their development, and it's something that every single council person I know takes very seriously. I think that Sean is a great pick. I think he's got a strong background, and I'm really excited about the what he's going to show our young people. He's certainly going to be a strong leader and someone that they can all look up to. So I wish him well, and I wholeheartedly support him in that role.
Further discussion? Oh, Councilman Gonzalez, sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't want to belabor the points here, but I couldn't think of a better person to hold this role. So I also just want to echo the remarks of my colleagues. Thank you, Sean, for stepping up and being willing to lead here in the city of Providence. You know, as someone who has spent a long time in early childhood education, the way that you have spoken about addressing the needs of our kids in a very holistic way is something that has always made me really perk up, and I couldn't, again, think of a better leader to lead that operation. Our rec centers are not just about our kids playing basketball. And that's something that we've talked about, and I know that he is ready to step up to the plate to make sure that we're really addressing all the social, emotional needs of our kids, and the, you know, whether it's job training, the other holistic elements that we've spoken about. So I just want to thank you for stepping up and leading on behalf of the children in the city of Providence, and want to thank you in advance for all that you do. So thank you again.
Further discussion? Item 3, Councilman Vargas.
Thank you, Marcia. I raised to welcome Mr. Sean. I just wanted to clarify that the city of Providence is full of new cultures. We have too many different people, and every community has a different need. I hope you will understand all the needs of different communities that we have in the city, and we can work together for the best of each different community center or each recreation center, because everyone is totally different. I want to welcome you, and I hope we can work together. Thank you.
Councilwoman Graves.
I know Sean from a while back. My thing is, I hope and pray, because I know he has it in him. I hope and pray that this is a long-term thing. This is something that you're going to commit to and stay with. And put your all in it. Listen to the directors at each and every last one of the centers that are already there. And if you have any issues, get in contact with the council person in that area and let us know. We are willing to fight for our recs, and we will fight to the end. And you will have our support. As long as you're doing well by the kids, as long as you're doing well by our directors, we will do well by you. So welcome.
Further discussion? Item 32, Majority Leader Espinola.
Thank you, Madam President. I just like to welcome Sean Hawley on board and wish him much success. Looking forward to working together with him, with his dedication, his education, skill set. I think he'll be a perfect fit with the Recreation Department. Thank you.
Any further discussion before? All right, Councilman Sanchez.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam President. I see Jackie here in the crowd, so I just wanted to give him his flowers and gratitude. Jackie. Jackie is a staple, obviously, in your rec center at Zucolo, but he really held and led the ship while we didn't have a permanent director. So he's a huge staple and support system for our rec department. Definitely just want to give him the gratitude he deserves. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Counselor. Further discussion, item 32. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Allow me, counselors, please, to take a point of personal expression. I think that everyone knows that public service is very rewarding, but also not necessarily for the faint of heart. So I really want to thank and congratulate both Jackie and Sean for the dedication to the youth of our city, to all of the neighborhoods, and to the work that we're going to do together. Thank you both. Item 33.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 33 and 34.
Second, Madam President.
Any discussion on items 33 and 34? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please send 33 to the Committee on Claims and Pending Suits and 34 note as received.
So noted.
Item 35,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of 35 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
Any discussion on item 35? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 36,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 36 and pass on a unanimous rising vote.
Second, Madam President.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
point of personal expression. Before we adjourn,
I'm sorry, we have to pass the item 36. Any discussion on 36? All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Majority Leader, point of personal
Yes,
expression.
I just want to thank Mark, who will be leaving us. It'll be a great loss, but very happy for him that he's going to have an opportunity to reunite with his family. You will be deeply missed. We'll always be here. It's been a pleasure knowing you, Mark. Thank you. Madam President,
Majority Leader.
being that there's no further business in the calendar, we'll make a motion to adjourn, and tonight we'll adjourn in the name of Mary Falk, who has recently passed away.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Counselors, please remember we have a meeting on the rise, so take a few minutes and also let's take a couple of pictures and then head over to the other room. Thank you.